Hi, this is Noah. In this video, I want to talk about this specific project for Four Lakes HOA over in South Lyons, Michigan. So I'm going to jump right into this. Here's a model of what we have going on. So this is just to start with. I'm going to show you what the bridge is going to look like when we're done. Now, I didn't take a whole bunch of time to draw the actual site. I didn't have the survey information. But this is what the bridge is going to look like when we're done. Okay, so this is the final product. You can see your culvert's going to remain in place. They look kind of like that. Okay, let me show you a couple of things. So we are going to have a ramp. The ramp is going to, imagine about a 6% slope up to the bridge. And as I mentioned before, the bridge from top of roadway to the bottom is going to be about 3 feet. So here we have it at, this is 3 foot 3/4 inch. So we're pretty close to 3 feet. All right. And this is what it's going to look like. So I want to go over the proposal. So this video is going to be in a few parts. First of all, I'm going to go over the proposal so you can see what's included and what's being paid for in the quote. And then I'm also going to go over the construction process. Okay, so how are we going to build this? What parts get built in certain ways? Okay, so first let me jump over to the proposal and we'll go through this. Let me get that open. Okay, so here we have the proposal on the right. Hopefully your screen's big enough you can see both of these. So let's go through this just one by one. Okay, so we have the 2 bridge decks. That's going to be for each bridge deck. You can see here's, this is what one bridge deck looks like right here. All right, that's just one bridge deck there. You're going to get 2 bridge decks. Each bridge deck is 89 foot long and 9 foot wide. That's exactly what this is. So you can see from face to face. Overall, the driving lane in here, come on, baby, there you go, all the way to here. It's gonna be right at 18 feet. Let me pull it up, and we're at 17 feet 8 inches. Okay, just shy of 18 feet. And this is showing it these 2 decks being super tight together, but in all practicality, we can never get them super tight. So it's going to be a little bit bigger than 17.8, but 18 feet is kind of what we're shooting for. So the $30,000 is for each bridge deck times 2, $60,000. The neoprene kit for $4,300. That's what's really going to connect the bridge to the abutments. And actually, I don't have them drawn here, but inside this area over here, we don't really want the bridge directly on top of the steel. There will be some steel plates here and some rubber pads, okay, some neoprene pads to help with isolation, vibration, and isolation. I didn't draw them, but that's where they go. They're parts and pieces. They go here, they go over here, and then they also go on the other bank, okay? The anti-slip coating, that is going to be on top of the bridge, and it's going to look like asphalt. It's going to look kind of like, I have other videos that I can show you, but it's going to be a pretty aggressive anti-slip surface. It looks like a grayish, dark gray kind of a color. So the GC10 guardrails, GC10 guardrails, that's what we have here. And that's, I'm not sure if you guys wanted us to do the full length guardrails or just certain sections. So we can always cut these back to whatever length you guys want. If you guys don't want this thing full length, we can shorten that up. They're comprised of 6x6 posts and 2x6 top rail, 2x6 side rail. Sometimes we'll have to use a 2x8 depending on a few different factors. And then 1x1 square tube that runs all the way down. This is just to keep little kids from falling through. So that's these posts are about every 5 foot apart. Where we place them at has more to do with the superstructure, getting things to line up properly with these kickers over here. So they're not exactly 5 feet. The placement of these posts is controlled by the bridge itself. So don't expect these to be perfectly symmetrical and lined up, okay? Well, not perfectly spaced apart, I should say. Okay, so that's the GC10 paint. So painting, that is, you can see here where I have it painted, this is kind of our standard color. It's called boxcar brown. It's like a brown, boxcar brown. It's like a reddish brown color. You can see that it's just kind of a nondescript, kind of a nobody hates it. Everybody kind of likes it. It's just a muted color. But you'll notice that we don't paint the up underside of the bridge. It'll be whatever color that the rail car comes in at. Sometimes it's yellow, sometimes it's gray, sometimes it's black. Usually it's like a dark gray. And once you're standing away from it, you don't really notice that at all. Okay, so we do. If you wanted the entire underside painted, there is an additional fee for that. And you just take the amount of square footage and you add the square footage, right? So that's this is 9 foot by 90 foot. So if you want all the underside repainted, then we just do the math accordingly. You can come up with your own numbers. Pretty simple. 10-year warranty. We talked about this before, so that's how much we're going to charge you to warranty the bridge for 10 years. Delivery. This is going to come out of probably, I imagine, Chicago at this point. That's the yard that's closest that has capacity. Helical piles. Okay, let me get the computer ready to do helical piles. I'm gonna strip this model down to show you what that looks like. Okay, in order for me to properly show you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the bridge up and out of the way. We'll just move this, let's just say 50 feet up in the air. Okay, and at this point, you can see I got this seam cover plate. Let me fix that. Okay, so now this is what the site looks like without the bridge. And let me show you what it's going to look like before the bridge even arrives. Let me show you, actually, you know what? I'm going to go through the entire process now of how we're going to build this. I think that'll be probably a little bit easier to explain. So I'm going to take this entire site. Okay, I'm going to take the site here. I'm going to make this, I'm just going to cut off this, this ramp, okay, because that ramp isn't going to be there until the very end. So I'm going to take that ramp, I'm going to get rid of it. Come on, ramp, get out of there. Come on, stop sticking around. Just have to do this and then go up. That way it's not attached. Then do this, bring that down. Come on, go down. Move this. Down. Move down, I said move. Why are we moving? Okay, so this is what your site looks like right now. Okay, so it's just a culverts and it's completely flat. Now this shows it as completely flat. You actually have a slight contour coming down, but in general, it's just easier for me to show it completely flat for now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, these are kind of our helicals over here. I just have them staged back over there just to move them over easily. The first thing we're going to do on day one, we're going to take these helicals here, not all the helicals, just these right here, and we're going to install these. Okay, so this is going to go over 50 feet. And that's all we're going to install. Okay, on the first day, if we get this far, that'd be great. And so you're just going to see a few things sticking up out of the ground. We'll cover them up. That way that they're not going to impede on anybody. But we'll try to cut them flush, cut them flat. There may be a few battered ones that we have to be careful for. We may have to put a box around them or something, just so they're just slightly sticking up out of the ground, but really they shouldn't be noticeable. And then that way you can keep on driving over that roadway. Then our next step is going to be installing this grade beam. Okay, so this grade beam is going to sit on top, 50 feet. Can sit right on top of those helicals. Okay, and those helicals, let me show you what those helicals look like. I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to make it translucent real quick. I'm going to make it water. I know this isn't water, but it's easy for me just to paint it water. That way we can kind of see. Actually, I think I have a lighter colored water. Where's my lighter colored water? It's dark. Maybe that is the lighter colored water. Okay, and that's what the helicals are going to look like, kind of like that. Oh, you know what? That's wise. Let me fix this real quick. Okay, so I just made it water translucent color that we can see the helicals. So the helicals, we're going to drive the helicals down in the ground. How deep we go depends on your soils, depends on when we reach a certain torque criteria. And they're basically just long screws. They can be anywhere from 30 feet to 90 feet. We'll drive these down in the ground, and then there's going to be some battered piles, and then we'll put this grade beam. Now, this grade beam, I'm anticipating it being between 6 to 8 inches. You can see that it's going to sit flush with existing grade. And then, so once we build these, we'll get some dirt and we'll just make mounds over these. That way, even when these are installed, you can still drive up and over. So you can see we're having to build the abutments in multiple stages, and there's still more to come. But those other helicals we'll get to later. So before the bridge arrives, this is what it's going to look like. That's what we want it to look like before the bridge arrives. Okay. And then the day that the bridge arrives. So as far as downtime, we talked about downtime. How long is this going to take? We anticipate usually we can build all these abutment in about 2 days. But if there's complexities, if there's lots of traffic, if we have to let lots of people through, it's going to slow us down. That's why we do ask for 4 days. And it may actually end up being 5 days, but we can usually knock it out in 2 days. We can never predict what the soil is going to be. If the soil is extra tough and it takes us longer to drive down, it's going to take us longer to install the bridge or to install the abutments. Okay, but you can see at this point, our impact has been pretty minimal. Everybody's able to drive over it pretty frequently. We're not shutting it down overnight. And even in an emergency situation, we can get open over these little grade beams without any big problem. Okay. Now, the day that the bridge arrives, this is where each bridge section arrives, and it's going to arrive with the guardrail already attached. So it's going to arrive like this on a truck, okay? Just like that. So one section will come in and we'll pick it up and we'll set it right in place. And that's going to get placed right on top of the grade beam, okay? One section at a time. And so once both of those are set in place, let me move this down. So move it, and we can do this all in 1 day. So this part is actually not too terribly difficult. So now by the end of, if we start doing this at either 8 a.m. or 8 p.m., depending on when you guys want us to work, this is only going to take us maybe 3 hours, and then these things are set in place, and it looks kind of like this, and we'll have to do some welding up underneath to get those things locked into place, get all our bolts bolted in, welding, however we need to secure it. But now it's going to look like this, and we have 3 foot uh, gap there. So we'll need to start bringing in dirt, and there will be also a end plate that retains soils from going underneath. I don't have that drawn here, but we will have that. Just a plate covering everything up, and then we'll start backfilling. So our goal is for that day is to backfill it both sides. So that way, if we start at 8 a.m. By noon, we're ready to start backfilling, and by 5 p.m., we have enough backfill that you can start driving over it. So we're back up and open. Okay, so let me draw that real quick. So now at this point, we have those helicals on. We have the bridge ready, and we have the ramps built. Let me add the ramps real quick. Okay, so the first week we built the main abutment. The second week we were building the bridge to get everything bolted down. There's going to be also, once we get these 2 bridges set in place, there's also this long seam cover plate right here. It's just a plate that covers up the seam. That's all it is, right? Otherwise, we don't want to see a seam in between the 2 decks. We're never going to get them super tight like this one. Usually there's like an inch, maybe even 2-inch gap in between the 2 decks. So we just put this plate on here to cover up that seam. Okay, so we still need to weld that. There's a fair amount of welding that needs to be done, but you can tell that when we're welding this, we really can't allow vehicular traffic. But it wouldn't be hard for us to step aside, and of course we do have hot metal. We don't want to burn tires or anything like that, so we have to be careful on how much traffic we allow through. We don't want anybody's tires to get melted or anybody get hurt. But it's pretty easy to allow this bridge to be open. So it does take about 3 to 5 days for us to finish up the bridge part. The ramp's already built. I left the ramps at this translucent color just so you can kind of see the helicals below grade. And then so that's 1 week, 2 weeks for the bridge. Then after that, it looks like it's done, but it's not quite done. We actually still need to support the ends of the bridge. That's where we have to add these. Okay, so these other helicals over here, those we're going to dig a little trench. Oops, I don't want to do that. I want to move them. Move over 50 feet. 50 feet. Okay, and so those, all we're going to do with those is we're going to dig a little trench at the very end of the bridge here, just with an excavator, just kind of dig it out, make a little hole, and then just drive those all the way down as deep as we need to. Again, 30 feet to 90 feet. It depends on your soils. And then we're going to weld those to the end of the bridge. That way the bridge is stabilized on the very end as well. Okay, and we'll do that on both sides. So how long is that going to take? It just should take a couple of days. Again, it depends on how much traffic we're seeing, how many times we have to stop to let traffic through. So usually we can get it done in 2 days, but we budget 3, knowing it could be 4. And in some situations, we've gone into a 5th day if we start running into problems or the soils are really bad. But generally 2 to 3 days is what we need. So we ask for 4, but we got to let you know it could take 5. Okay, for that part. And it's really for all these parts. Everything could take 2 days. Usually takes up to 3. Sometimes it takes 4. But we ask that we do let people know it could take 5. So worst case scenario, this is 5 working days. This is 5 working days, and that's 5 working days. But best case scenario is that's 2, 4, 6 days. Not all consecutive. We want to break it up 1 week, 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks for that. Okay, and then you'll have this complete bridge ready. Let me go back over to the proposal and see if there's anything else I need to talk about. So we have the warranty, the bridge delivery, the helicals, multi-stage abutments. You can see that there's lots of different stages. It'd be a lot easier if we did all of them all at once. It'd be a lot faster for us, but we understand we got to keep the road open. So that's what it takes. Abutment weekend and night charges. If by chance you wanted to start building all this stuff at night, that way there's no interruption. So we can start at like 8 p.m. And work until like 5 a.m. We still need to get approval from the township and from the HOA to do that, but we're receptive to do that. That way there's very minimal disruption. We're working at night. We are making a fair amount of noise, so the neighbors that are right by the bridge will be impacted with the excavators and different heavy pieces of equipment moving around. So we can do it. There is an extra fee. So the abutment, there's a fee for the abutments. And really, I'm not sure if it's really worthwhile to do that for the abutments because it's pretty low impact for vehicular traffic. We can kind of pause and let people through, but it's an option. You know, it does add some extra cost there. Um, Connecting bridges to abutments, that's the actual installation process. Temporary steel ramps, those are, instead of building dirt mounds, and even at the very end over here, waiting for those dirt mounds, if you wanted us to build a ramp, a steel ramp that we can throw up in a short amount of time in order to allow vehicular traffic, we can certainly do that. It's just going to cost. We need to build those ramps, and once we're done with the ramps, even if we don't use them, we have to charge you for them because there's nothing we can do with them. They're going to be kind of custom made for your specific project. So you buy them, right? So $15,000 are yours when we leave. I don't know what you'll do with them, but they're there. Okay. That's entirely up to you. I don't know if we need it or not, but if you really want us to be prepared for quicker emergency response, we can do that. Bridge installation, that's if you want us to work on this overnight. This is the one that might be beneficial for you guys to consider, since we will be, once we start installing those bridges and dragging them into place, not much can be done for many hours before that bridge is up and operational again. So that one you may want to consider us doing at night if you don't want to hassle with the bridge closure during the daytime hours. And we've already talked about the turnkey project fees, so I won't worry with that. We do have the soils report already, so that's going to save you $3,500. It's shown here, but it's not included in the overall fees. This is what we would generally estimate for, but we already have that. We were provided that by Mark, so that can be deleted. Everything else is pretty routine. So if there's any questions, hopefully that video wasn't too terribly long. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to talk to you guys about it and see if we can find a solution. I sure do appreciate it. Thank you for watching this super long video. Thanks. Bye.